We are live. Namdi wanted to join today. He insisted on being here, so here we are. Try to keep this an adult zone. But yeah. Namdi, say what's up to everybody.
What's up?
All right, Keduki Ide, thank you for joining me. Typically, I do these on Friday. I need to scoot this back. I think I'm a little too close.
Just hill climb racing.
Hill climb racing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Namdi, I think you have to go join your mommy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'll come hang out after, okay? Okay?
But I want to stay.
All right. We are at damn near nobody in here. Hold on. Ndewo, who is that? K-Sis, Nicole Lasher, good to meet you. Ndewo, one Ndewo. Ndewo, Snapple and Cats. All right, we got the veterans coming in. Ndewo. I'm sharing this. Hopefully more people join. He said, thank you so much for that. Oh, speaking of he said, let me go get my UFO. Hold on just 1 second. Namdi, you're going to be a host, okay? Just 1 second. No drip. I'm coming.
I pulled this chair yesterday.
She's not the one that broke it, though. I'm coming, y'all. There, whoa. Anybody that's coming in just now is probably like, why is there a little kid there? Now, isn't it over? Tablet time over? Here, get up. Let me sit back down. There, whoa, no. All right, how many? We got 10 in here watching my son play tablet. Shout out to y'all. That is support. Can't stay for the live. Just wanted to give your algorithm some juice. He said, Aaron, thank you for that, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. He said, all right, so today I'm going to be talking about two things. I think this is going to be short because Saturday is this guy's day. I decided to go live today rather than yesterday just because of some scheduling things that happened. And so he's not going to leave me alone. And so we're going to keep this pretty short. But today I'm going to do an Ask Me Anything. You guys can ask me whatever. As always, I'm open to nearly any question. I'm saying nearly now because some questions are becoming redundant. But again, nearly any question. There we are. Okay, I'm here. All right, cool. All right, so you can ask me nearly. Now, you want to see here so I can see it a little bit better. All right, so you guys can ask me nearly anything today, and then I'm also going to share an ilu that tells you when you are supposed to visit a Dibia. And hopefully this ilu.
I'm playing hill climb racing because I haven't played all these levels first.
Nice, you gotta unlock them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. So this particular ilu I'm going to share is going to probably answer a lot of the questions I get, which is that points to why I'm calling this nearly anything. So those of you who are in here, hit share, post this wherever you post things, post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram, post it on Facebook, post it wherever, TikTok, whatever. He's the cutest. Yes, he is, Chelsea. Thank you very much. Post it wherever you post things. Let's see if we can get some people in here. Once we hit, let's do 15. Once we hit 15 people in here, I'm going to go ahead and start. We're already at 12, so we're strong. Just fell to 11, so somebody decided to put sand in our gari. But those of you who are in here, I see that 6 people have hit like, and there's 12 people in the room. So you know how I get about these likes. You hit like, I think it was Aaron that said it earlier about giving the algorithm juice. If you want to give the algorithm juice, go ahead and hit the like button. There's way too much. I want these likes. Give me a minute. I think the pink is too strong on that. Oh, that's crazy. Hold on 1 minute.
Give Daddy 1 minute, please.
Attaboy. Uh, yes, I always like doing my duty. Yes, sir. All right. Got 13 people in here, 7 that hit like. Let's see if we can get it to 13, 13. Let's see if we can get it to 12, 12. 12 likes, 12 people in here. Once we hit 15 people in here, we're going to go ahead and get started. Somebody hit like, just one person. We are still waiting on the other, I think, 5-ish. Nah, just went to go share it on Twitter real quick. I'm back. All right, Chelsea. That's love. Appreciate that. You got it. One day, you got it. All right, so we are at 12-8. We are at 12-8. As I said earlier today, ask me whatever, but there's an ilu that I want to share that kind of points towards, how can I say this? The best time to see a Dibia and kind of the best time to prioritize the spiritual, right? That kind of thing. 12-9.
My internet clips right. This monster truck is internet clips right now.
That's true. So let's see if we can get to 15. Once we get to 15, I'm going to hit like. For those of you who are in Kedu, we are rounding out our final month. And the registration for the new set of classes is now open. Those of you who are in Igbo 1 and you're looking to go into Igbo 2, now's the time to sign up. Those of you who are in Igbo 2 and are brave enough to go to Igbo 3, now is most definitely time to sign up. And if you are not signed up for any courses with Kedu at all, but you're interested in learning the Igbo language this year, I've developed a program called kedu.me. You can check it out at kedu.me. Kedu.me is an Igbo language school where I pair you with a teacher and a coach who is going to...
You can talk about Kedu.me.
Yes, thank you very much. Who's going to provide you a safe space for you to learn the language, right? It's a safe space for you to learn the language, as well as customs and culture that kind of go behind understanding the language. It's a very different approach from other language schools that are out there. But of course, pick whichever one you're comfortable with. But the approach is different because if you like what I present here on the Medicine Shell, you're going to love the way we do things at Kedu. So go ahead and sign up at www.kedu.me. That being said, we are waiting for 15 people, and me plugging Kedu brought us to 7. So if we can get 15 in here, I'll go ahead and begin today's talk, right? I think we're going to keep this one fairly short because it is Saturday and I am out of my element doing this on an unusual day. But let's see here. We are at 8:10. If y'all want to start asking, if you guys have any questions or any things you want me to touch on or speak about, good. Perfect. If you have any questions or any things you want me to speak on or touch on, that'd be great. Ndewo, Adrian, Ndewo one, and always good seeing you in here. K-Sis says working on it. All right. So stop touching the screen. But yeah. There we go. All right. Ndewo. We also have Kedu kids. If you guys have kids, you want to teach the language. My son's going to be enrolling this quarter. So, Namdi Inaswibo. Yeah. Cool. We are at 10:10. That is a good child. So quiet. Yeah. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. Super calm. Barbers are shocked. So we are blessed. We are at 10:10. I just figured out today. I think he's Dada. So Dada is somebody whose hair naturally grows in dreadlocks. Namdi, I think you're Dada. Do you know what Dada is? Somebody who's gonna have long hair. Yeah. So, my mom came for the Labor Day weekend, and so she was looking at his hair. She was like, "I think that's the case." So that's cool. We are at 10:10. We just need 5 more people. If we can get 5 more people in here, I'll go ahead and get things started. 5 more people in here. I'll go ahead and get things started. Go ahead. Those of you who have not shared this, share this. I think you can share things on YouTube too. Share it on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on TikTok. Oh, 13. So whoever hit share, your work is not in vain. It is working. Let's get they're going. We need just 4 more people. 4 more people in here. We'll go ahead and get started on the topic. 4 more people. And you guys better have questions. The more questions you have, the longer I'm going to hang out. If you don't have questions, I will most definitely bounce, because if you cannot tell, we are on somebody else's time right now. Let's get it to 20. Let's go. Adrian, that's what's up. Adrian, that's what's up. But people are being kind of shy today. It's funny too, because once I start talking, all of a sudden it shoots up. So I don't know if people like to wait on the benches, and then all of a sudden, when I don't know, they get the feeling that I've started, they all come in or what. But once I start talking, it just goes to 20 and beyond. So if you are in the room, we thank you. I might drop the goal because we have to go ahead and get this thing started. I might drop the goal, but I'm going to hold on to the 15 for about 2 more minutes. I think in 2 more minutes, we can get 15 in here. Those of you who have not hit share or shared this somewhere, go ahead and post this where you posted. Today, we're going to be talking about an ilu that tells you when you should look outside of the physical and into the spiritual. And we're going to be discussing, in that, we're going to be discussing when to visit a Dibia. But of course, like every chat, I'm open to nearly any question. All right, we are at 12. I have a question about the days of the week, actually. Just learned that the Yoruba has both the 4. I don't want to touch the screen. I need to find a way to get this on my laptop too. Give me just a second. Let me see if I can. There's a cheat code to this. I know it. I don't want to touch my phone screen too much, so I want to see if I can open the chat on my laptop. And there we go. If I can open it on my laptop, then there I am. There we go. We're gonna mute me. All right. So Snappling Cat says, I have a question about the days of the week. Actually, just learned that the Yoruba has both the 4-day one and the 7-day one from colonialism with different Yoruba names. Is that the same as Igbo? Very good question. We're going to answer that once we get 15 people in here. So go ahead, let's hit share. That's a dope ass question. I love that. More questions like that, please. I love that. Adrian says, I've heard that we have to be initiated in order to practice Odinani, but I thought you said there was... I have yet to have a Dibia message me on IG like the fake blah. Yeah, that's coming. That's coming. Hold on. I have to stop touching this damn screen. All right, no more screen touching. So that's something I wonder too. All right, those are very good questions. Keep them coming. I'm going to answer them all. Keep them coming. Any more questions? There's no bad question. I know it says nearly, but if you're in my chat long enough, or you're the Patreon long enough, or maybe you listen to my videos, you'll know that that's how I joke. So yeah, it says nearly, but there's no bad question. Go ahead and ask me any question you want, and that kind of thing, and then put it in the chat, and I will answer it once we get to talking. All right. So don't speak. Oh, Adrian, don't speak too fast. Okay. That's what I was wondering. You just said LOL. Yeah. You just said, yeah, don't speak too fast. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah, they're on their way. They are on their way, but it's the audience that creates that problem. It's not the babalawos that create it. It's the people that keep going to them and what they're asking for and the culture they have created in the discourse. So hopefully this ilu I share is going to put things in perspective so that we can kind of have some balance or restored balance to that relationship. But yeah, it's coming. It's on its way. It is 100% on its way. Where are we at? 11. All right, you know what? I said 2 minutes. 2 minutes have passed. I am going to drop the goal. If we get to 13, I'm on. You've also described some things about happens after you die. What not happens? I'm just like, okay, I'll get to that. Oh, there it is. But not about what happens to your conscious, actually, if it makes sense. That's a really good question. Like what you experience after death. Very cool. Go, Ella. Yeah. No, Nigerians will just say whatever. All right, y'all. 13. He said, let us begin. All right, y'all. We are here. I present you with Audrey, as is the custom If you are in a gathering, be it a gathering with your ancestors, gathering with friends and family, gathering with a visitor, business meeting, whatever, the proper way to begin is by breaking the Aji with you and your guests. I just went and got Aji today. I have Aji here. This is Oseo. No, this is not Oseo Aji. This is bitter cola. And then I have Nzu. And then Nzu. It's all in Nzu powder, which I've been using a lot lately. All right. So that is the Aji. I'm going to go ahead and begin as is the custom. Now, the custom is the eldest man in the room will do it, but we are in a digital world, so that's difficult for me to tell. Now, there are exceptions, right? But no matter what the exception, of course, we're going to pass 15 now. But there are always exceptions, but no matter the exception, the RG has to be presented to the eldest man in the room, and then he has to nod in approval, giving you the permission to take his place in this particular situation. So I present the RG. If you are older than me and dude, go ahead and nod your head. All right. I'm going to assume you are permitting me to go ahead and do what is your place. Okay. That being said, let me go ahead and begin. Okike Keruwa, Alawala, Alanema Nanemo, Ojabiala, Ojim Jinaka, Buaji Nichai, Nkendi Chekere, or Kotara, Nogi Chuku, Gwarai Nime Gwachuku, Gwa Muo, Gwago, Gwawa, Na Kewu Nke Hagaji, Hageji Ama Mwaha, Hageji Ama Umuha, Umuha, Geji Ama. Ọjị nke bụ ọjị ndụ, ọjị ike bụ ọjị ike, ọjị ike bụ ọjị ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ, ọjị ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ, nnọọ ọ ga-adị n'eke, nnọọ ọ ga-adị n'afọ, na orie ndo, nnọọ ọ ga-adị n'afọ, nnọọ ọ ga-adị na nkwọ. Ise. All right. So for those of you who did not understand, I said that this Aji is the Aji of course, when you're breaking Aji, you give acknowledgments to everything that's present, to everybody that's present, that type of thing. So the first thing I gave acknowledgement to was the creator, and then the earth. And then I said that this particular Aji is the Aji that our ancestors chose within Obi-Chukwu to say that this is what our descendants will use to know us, and this is what the descendants chose to say this is what we will use to know those before us. Then of course those that are posterity, those that will come. I said that this Aji was an Aji of life and an Aji of strength. I also said that this Aji is the Aji of the Eke, Urie, Afon, and Nkwo people, which is all people in the world. It is a uniting force. And from there, I then said Ise and let it go into the air. So that was more or less it. Ise. Awesome. If you guys have been here long enough, you probably know exactly what I do. So today I'm going to talk about, and I'm so glad that somebody brought up the initiation and Dibia thing, because I'm going to talk about when you should go to a Dibia, right? When you should go to a Dibia. Because I think that the perspective on this is skewed, and it's not the Dibia's fault. It's not the Babalawo's fault. We keep blaming them, and that's not the case. They are becoming what they are asked to be, right? So I'm going to address that in a little bit. But first, I'm going to answer some of the questions that you guys asked. All right, so let me start from the top. All right, I have a question about the days of the week. I learned that the Yoruba had both 4-day one and a 7-day one. From colonialism with different Yoruba names, not the same as Igbo. So right now, Igbo people use the 7-day Roman calendar that everybody in the world uses, just on a day-to-day. But some things, especially things that are cultural, are still in alignment with the 4-day calendar, such as the opening of the markets, masquerades or special events. Things like certain cultural rules, like marriages, like for most villages don't get married on Eke Day. They don't do marriages on Eke Day. They don't have funerals on Eke Day, and all these things are acknowledged once those events happen, right? What does Dibia mean for? Okay, I'll get to that. So all that thing. So it's this where both calendars are being used. The calendar is being used more so culturally. The 7-day calendar then gets used for everything else. But in Igbo culture, we didn't change the names of the 7 days, the 7-day Roman calendar. So it's just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Um, it's the same in Yoruba land too, but I believe that they also have the 7-day calendar where they put their own names on each of the days, which that's their choice too. That's cool. I'm not surprised that they have a 4-day calendar. I'm positive that that was probably the original one, but I'm not the person to ask about Yoruba culture, like specifics on Yoruba culture. Um, but yeah, to specifically answer the question, no, yes, Igbo people use both the Roman calendar due to colonialism and that kind of thing, and the traditional 4-day calendar at the same time. But we never changed the names of like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's just Sunday, Sunday, that kind of thing. There was another question. Let me scroll back up. Question about the 7 days. Okay. All right. Learn that the Chinese. I've been learning Chinese, and they numbered their days 1 to 7 in the Western calendar, but the Yoruba had like other gods and words and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know too much about the Yoruba situation, but I'm sure that's what was going on. I've heard that you have to be initiated in order to practice Odinani, but I thought you said that you don't have to be initiated. Well, it's my word versus the other person's word. Um, the next question I would ask you is, what does practicing Odinani mean, right? And on top of what does practicing Odinani mean, what does that look like? And what is the initiation, right? What maybe you can ask the person what the initiation is. Of course, they'll give you something that, depending on your geographical location, might cost $1,000, but it's fake. You don't have to do it. There's no initiation in practicing Odinani, right? There's no initiation in practicing Odinani. Um, it's even hard to say what practicing Odinani means, right? What practicing, because I mean, this can be an entire video series, but it's almost a silly concept to say practicing Odinani, right? So, but people are gonna say what they say. So the reason I'm saying that the initiation thing doesn't make sense at all is, I think what is happening in the person who told you this thing and so on and so forth is people are equating Odinani with being a Dibia or Dibia work. I had somebody think I was an idiot for implying that masquerades were a part of Odinani. You understand? So people are equating it with Dibia work because, again, you're coming out of the church, right? And you have this kind of scaffolding, this Christian scaffolding, and you walk into a new thing and you think it's a religion. And so if it's a religion, your understanding of religion is Christian. So who's the pastor? That's the pastor. Now, the Christian religion is structured so that you follow the pastor, you follow the shepherd, you do that thing. So, okay, let me follow the pastor who is the Dibia, which is a ridiculous title to give a Dibia. And in giving the Dibia the title, this is how a lot of people created, I'm not even blaming the Babalawos anymore, created all these fake Facebook Babalawos and all that kind of thing, right? That's how this situation got created, because people are going to these people who are doctors, right? Who are doctors, and treating them like pastors. You understand? So after a while, if I don't practice medicine for 12 years and people keep coming to me to, like, I don't know, practice Udinani, you understand? Why not? Why not? Okay, fine, whatever. Whatever. Let's say, oh, you have you're actually a water spirit. Woo woo woo, that kind of thing. Traditionally, those who are aware would go to a DBO or a babalawo to solve a problem, specifically to solve a problem, right? So when you get into Ifa or you get into Odinani or any African thing, this instinct of immediately beelining to a Dibia or immediately beelining to a Babalawo is what's causing that situation. And I wish people would stop doing that, right? I wish people would stop doing that, because that's not what it is. That's not what's going on, right? Let's call Odinani science, right? Let's call it science. In science, there are scientists. There are scientists. but there's really no such a thing as practicing science, if that makes sense. Everything you do is science. Everything you do is ordinary. Everything you do is if all these, it's just I'm letting you know this is what's going, like this is a language for understanding the world around you. Every single thing that's going on is this thing, right? Now I can become a scientist, but the purpose of science isn't making people scientists. There are just some people who say, okay, I'm dedicated to being at the frontier of this thing, figuring out new things, so on and so forth. In fact, I wouldn't even say a Dibia, is a scientist, I wouldn't even say that. I would actually say they're closer to a doctor. You understand? They're closer to a doctor than they were. In fact, this literally means doctor. Than they would be to a scientist. Well, let's call them scientists, whatever. Let's just use a better analogy because the Christian thing is messing people up. They keep thinking they need to go to the Dibia every Sunday to do X, Y, Z, and Z, Y, X. And sometimes you guys have to understand, you're in America. You're Americans, right? It's the richest country on earth. The richest country of all time. You get somebody from the richest country of all time coming to you asking you just like for like to do just, hey, can I get initiated? Yeah, sure, come right in, come get initiated. You say no to this one, and then 12 more come at you the next day. It's like after a while, it's like, am I going to sit here in this third world country and keep not initiating these eager rich people, right? That kind of thing. It's creating a very bad situation. I wish people would stop, right? But I can't tell you to stop. So yeah, people make the jokes about the fake babalawos and the DBS or whatever. But it's like, these are the things you could be asking them for. At home, people are saying, my arm is broken. Can you fix my arm? My arm is broken. Can you fix my arm? I've been trying to have a kid for 3 years. It's not working. Those are the questions they're getting, that are more in line with their work. So imagine now just a regular doctor, let's just say a doctor. This is all perspective stuff. So if my analogy's out there, that's fine. There's just a doctor, like a Western doctor that you're familiar with, and nobody goes to him for medicine. The people just stop going to him for medicine and keep going to him to hear about like Jesus, right? After a while, you're gonna be like, all right, fine. What do you want to do? Oh, you want to get initiated into good health? Okay, come right in. I'll initiate you into good health. Here's your bill. They do it now anyway. And if you're familiar with the U.S. medical system, right? They do it now anyway. Right? You get them. Anyways, let me leave that alone. But yeah, people keep asking them these questions. What are you getting initiated into? Right? Somebody goes I've had people, because I used to have I used to recommend a Dibia to people. Right? I used to have an in-house Dibia I'd recommend to people, and the situation was just becoming a mess. And I said, okay, no, I don't like this, and so I ended it. But one of the things that was kind of messy about it was that the Dibia would get upset at me because he felt that people were just reaching out to him to test if he was real, right? They're just testing, they had no concern. There was no problem. And he's not he's not like a Facebook babalawo, right? He's an actual, he's pulling out of what he's doing to come and do this, right? And so people would come to him to almost poke and test and see if this was real, right? And imagine if you're a doctor, you go to there's a doctor's office and let's call it, they get 50 people and 30 of them don't have any medical issues. They just keep coming to see you. Oh, you really go to medical? Oh, really? Okay. Wow, that's interesting. All right. Yeah, after a while, they keep coming up to the doctor hey, I want to be initiated into science. I want to be initiated into science. After a while, it's look, these fertility medicines aren't selling, and the demand says, I want to be initiated into science. Fine, I'll initiate you into science. I'll dip your little head in the water and hit you 3 times with this stick, and you'll be initiated into science, So yeah, you're creating, and then it's again, I keep saying the America thing, and I don't know if the translation's happening, but imagine if Oprah was asking you to initiate her into science, right? And if Oprah came to you and was hey, whoever you are, can you initiate me into science? I want to get initiated. After a while, you'd have to have the very strong constitution, or as a moral constitution, say, no, Oprah, you don't need to be initiated into science to understand and participate in science. Science is happening all around you. Your organs are science. The sky is science. The earth is science. The science is the, if you're interested in science, go be inquisitive. Go be at the forefront of science, right? You have to have a really strong moral constitution not to be like, oh, you want to be Oprah? You want to be initiated into science? Okay, it's going to be $7 million. I'll spray this chicken blood on you and dip your head in the water and you'll be initiated into science. Right? Especially if that's all people keep asking you for. Young people. They always say young people. One of the reasons I brought this up is right now I'm working on a video on akaraka, like palm reading, right? And I'm having a lot of fun putting this video together because my dad's participating. My dad's actually going and visiting the palm reader and things like that. And this guy insists he does not talk to anybody from the internet. He's like, he does not talk to anybody. He's emphatic about it. Once they mentioned my son in America online, he said, nope. You understand? So we had to like convince him, no, it's okay, you know, that kind of thing, because it's just like a lot of silliness, right? And so yeah, and okay, like let's say now you're a babalawo, right? And Oprah comes to you and she pays you the $7 million and you initiate her into science, right? And you got a whole bunch of people around you who don't have $7 million. Yeah, they're gonna get on Facebook, start messaging a couple of other, you know, wherever the hell Oprah came from, and start saying, hey, I can initiate you too. Come here, that kind of thing. So it's just creating this weird situation that I wish people would kind of hit the brakes on, right? Odinani is not something you get initiated into, right? It's not something you can't get initiated into it, and that makes no sense. That makes no sense. Makes no sense. People are gonna say whatever, so it's up to you to believe them, believe me. Ultimately, I want you to believe yourself. I would like to give you tools for you to do critical thinking with while you're doing that, so that your process of trusting and believing yourself is more effective, if that's what those tools help you do. But ultimately, the only tool I can give you is Odinani as it is on the land. That's what the word means, Odinani as it is on the land. You cannot be initiated into as it is on the land. Somebody told, hey, come get initiated into as it is on the land. That's what I'm doing right now, right? So after the initiation, you can then talk to your ancestors, right? That's what's going to happen after the initiation. Imagine I pass, you know, and this young man has to go to some asshole in Mbise to get initiated to come talk to me. Like, please think about, like, you know, when I say ancestors, it's not just this like floating thing. It's your literal grandfather. It's your literal great grandmother. It's your literal great great grandmother. I'm not talking about like something that anybody owns more than you. How can somebody initiate you into participating in your spiritual family? You understand? How can somebody initiate you into participating in your family? Somebody's going to initiate this young man to come talk to me. You know? As a part of them being initiated into as it is on the land, right? You put yourself in the shoes of this babalawo who is sitting here, and for the past 11 years, all he's gotten is messages from America of people trying to be initiated, right? And he hasn't cured a damn thing for a decade, and money's running low, and it's not like the work he's doing is particularly profitable to begin with, right? Yeah, okay, you need me to be Creflo Dollar? I'll do that. Why not, you know? I've had people, like when I did I've had people fight me because I told them they don't need to be initiated. So the next question is, what is this initiation? What does it mean to you, and why do you need it? Because I don't understand that, right? And there's this like, once like people start, like if you're not my family and you start getting like really like emotional talking to me, like very like angry or something, like we're not doing that, right? You're gonna calm your ass down, or we're gonna end the conversation. Because again, you're not my family. I reserve that level of emotion for people, you know, my family, that kind of thing. But yeah, I just get these like very hyperactive responses sometimes when I tell, like, oh, I want to get initiated. You know, there's no initiating. Initiating to what? Initiating to talking to your ancestors? Initiating to talking to your chi? Initiated into knowing your path and your purpose. That's when you're going to initiate it into, you know. It's insane, you know? Like what does that word mean, initiated? You know? You can get initiated into being like when a person says you have to get initiated into being to Odinani, I don't know what that person's saying, but if they're saying a lot of people equate Odinani to Dibia, which no, that's not what it is. That's not at all. Not at all. Dibia is like 5% of it. That's not what it is at all. That's not what it is at all. But if you can get initiated into being a Dibia, fine. You understand that you can do that. You can get initiated to being an Inze. You can get initiated into being also, but to be initiated into as it is on the land, it's a ridiculous request. You know, and that's why like earlier somebody said that they don't get messages from Dibias as much as they from Dibias don't know that there's the people in the richest country on earth are begging to throw money at them for nonsense. They don't know that. The Babalaos do. You know. Once the DBS find out, right, and their little cousins that have laptops, yeah, you're gonna get all kinds of messages. This is what it is. One of the reasons I wanted to have the in-house DBO so to kind of avoid that situation, but it's unavoidable, and it's like a two-way relationship of people who need each other, like people that want to get like lied to and people that want to lie. You understand? I can't get in between that love affair. It's intense. It's not it has nothing to do with me. So no, you don't get initiated into it. If somebody telling you get initiated into talking to your grandfather, I mean, just be logical about it. You know, be logical. What does that mean? That's insane. Okay. Let's do it this way. Let's not call it Odinani. Let's not call it Odinani. What if you did the American version of ancestral veneration, which is taking roses to the grave of your loved one, right? And before you went there, somebody goes, "Hold on, are you initiated?" Are you initiated into doing this? Right? Are you did you you know? Now you can be initiated into being what's it I want to say a pallbearer. Is it a no? It's not a pallbearer, but the mortician. I don't know why I said pallbearer. You can get initiated into being a mortician, but ta-da! Mortician is what? Somebody who does an applied science. A Dibia is what? Somebody who does an applied science, right? That kind of thing. You know, so if you were interested in being a DBO, which there's nothing wrong with that, it's perfectly fine, and I think it's an amazing thing. You know, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing without DBS. If you want to get initiated into being DBO, that's fine, but in Odinani is a perspective, it is a cosmology, right? It is a science, it's an understanding, and you don't get initiated into perspectives. You can't be initiated into a perspective, right? When you if you happen to call the name of your ancestors, right, or if you pour a libation and you're not initiated, is the Odinani police gonna come for yeah, you know, I don't know. There are people who want to be lied to, and there are people who lie, and they need each other. And unfortunately, the people who want to be lied to tend to throw the people who lie under the bus when things fall apart. But it is a mutual relationship. I thought that I was under the impression that it was a one-way relationship or it was parasitic, but it's not. So I don't really fault or get mad at the Facebook babalawos. People love them, you know. All right, so I'm sure a bunch of questions came that probably I've heard. When you give a sacrifice, let me find a way to put this in English. When you offer a sacrifice and vultures fail to gather, there is a problem in the world of spirits. In Alamu, right? When you give a sacrifice and vultures fail to gather, there is a problem in Alamu. This is the Elu Namdi. I don't know if you can live this because you're doing free promo for these people. But there is an Elu, or that particular Elu will tell you when to go speak to a Dibia, when to go to a Babalawo, right? I'll say it again. I don't need, I love this. I don't need permission or approval from anyone to speak to the elements either, right? You come outside in the morning, anyanwụ ụtụtụ anyị na-ekele gị, son of the morning, we greet you. Somebody, the Ordinary police comes and goes, hey, are you initiated? Yeah, I saw you. I saw you shouting out, "Anyanwu, are you initiated?" You know, did you get jumped in? Like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. So, oh God, I've lost my previous train of thought. Well, yeah, the vulture, right? When you give a sacrifice and vultures fail to gather, there's a problem in the world of spirits. You go to a Dibia or a Babalawo when there is something abnormal happening. If it is abnormal and it is beyond your capacity to understand or explain, you go to somebody who specializes in looking at places you typically don't look to find answers. And that's it, right? That's it. When things are not happening according to the laws of nature, you do a sacrifice, vultures take that sacrifice. If you do another one, vultures will come. But one day you do one and a vulture doesn't appear. Okay, something strange is going on. The natural rhythm of nature is gone, and I cannot look at nature alone to explain what's going on. Let me go to this person who specializes at looking beyond terrestrial nature. That's what it is. We've been trying to have a kid for 7 years, nothing. I have done XYZ that typically produces this result, and that result did not happen, right? Men keep coming and visiting me and running away. Women see me and run away. Right? That kind of thing. I had a person message me talking about he was stuck to a Dibia. And this is when I was getting tired of a lot of this particular question, right? And I was like, okay, why do you want to see a Dibia? So he's been trying to come to America for 11 years and it hasn't been working. I was like, well, America, it's very hard to get into America. Um, what have you done in the meanwhile? He says he just keeps applying. I'm like, well, what's a Dibia going to do for you there? Right? Yeah, apply to Canada. Like, what? Then he got mad at me. He said, I don't understand because I live here. I'm privileged, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's these we want to act like these Dibias or Babalawos on Facebook are the problem, but like if you had a whole country full of Oprahs, that's what America is, right? That's what America is. You can turn on the water and water comes out the faucet. That's not normal, right? It's a whole country full of Oprahs just looking for someone to pay to initiate them into things, into talking to their grandfather, initiate them into understanding the earth, initiate them into thanking the river for giving him water, initiate them into just into their own intuition, into your own spirit, right? To connecting with your own spirit, to initiate you into that. And it's just this like Oprah party. I don't even there are certain names for these kind of parties, but I don't want to say them because they got monetization rules. You got these and you all these people from you just got the whole Calabasas emailing you talking about, hey, Chelsea, initiate me into as it is on the land. And you're just like, after you tell, oh no, I can't initiate you, person number one, Jeff Bezos. I can't initiate you, Elon Musk. There's no such a thing as, you don't have to be initiated to speak to your deceased loved ones and your children to come. Who's another rich person? Jay-Z, right? You don't have to do it. Once Beyonce sends you that message, and if you can say no to her, you got a very strong moral character, But a lot of people, even if you had after the ninth unbelievably wealthy person from an unbelievably wealthy country ask you this ridiculous question, eventually you go back, okay, fine. It's going to be 10K. I'll initiate you, right? And 10K is you being merciful. It's going to be 2 million. Oh, okay, that kind of thing. Let me just leave that alone. Yeah, you guys have to stop that. Somebody tells you that you need to get initiated into Udinani. It's like, okay, what have I said in my videos that imply you need? If you heard about this from my videos, what have I said in my video that implies you need to get initiated? Anyanwu is Chukwu's representative on earth. In order to understand the chi, you can look onto the sun if you need to look onto the sun. The sun will help you understand the chi. Oh, I need to get initiated into whatever he just said. Once you get initiated, what's gonna happen? Oh man. All right, so let me go to the questions. My bad. Those of you fast. So describe some things about what happens after you die. Okay, next topic. So Snapple and Cats goes, you've described some things about what happens after you die, but not what happens to your conscious, more or less. Like what happens to your conscious. Man, very, 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 very good question. And I think the question lies in, I mean, the thing to wonder is where does your consciousness exist in, right? Is your consciousness is your consciousness something that comes from you, or are you a beacon for this thing called your consciousness, right? That kind of thing. I've explained that everybody is a composite of three things or four things: chi, eke, ago, mo, right? Is it the togetherness of these things that create this consciousness that I call me, or is it something else? So the question you asked me is unbelievably deep. I'll probably need to think about it, but I think at this point it's a philosophical question more than anything, right? It's a philosophical question more than anything because I am of the opinion, based off of what I know about Odinani, that we may need to rethink what we call consciousness because I think every single thing is a decentralized intelligence, right? Every single thing is a decentralized intelligence. There is not a consciousness, but all this chaos of forces and spirits and parts and things create what we call a consciousness, right? And we're barely in control of it, and it's barely ours, that type of thing. But it's super good question. um, I'll probably have to make either a video topic or a Patreon topic, but that was a good ass question. But what do I think happens to your consciousness after you pass? I think your consciousness, again, is not a centralized thing. I think it's a dance of many things, and all those things go their separate ways, right? All those things go their separate ways. So it would be hard for me, who has not experienced that, to then verbalize what that sensation would feel like, or how I would act, or how I would exist post that sensation of the intelligence departing and going its separate ways and melding back into the universe. But yeah, that's where I am with it. But I'm not gonna pound my hand and say this is what it is because I don't think anybody has the answer to that. Somebody can tell you that they got the answer to it, but they don't. Apollo's throat.
I want to be upside down for a minute.
You can be upside down. That's fine. Would it be to consult? Okay. Would it be a consult with your chi or with a dibia when you're trying to figure out the best use your spiritual gifts? Your chi, your chi, your chi, your chi, your chi, your chi. Your chi is the one who's going to tell you how to use your spiritual gifts. The dibia can only try to figure out what your chi is trying to tell you, and you refuse to hear, right? There's an ilu that says Madu Juafa, Afa Juchia, right? That if I ask Afa, right? If I ask divination, divination will ask my chi. That type of thing, right? There's the saying Chika Dibia. The chi is higher or greater than the dibia. That type of thing. It is your chi, right, that is going to give you the answer. It is the chi that's going to give you the answer. That type of thing. One thing you're going to find funny if you ever get a chance to go home is that people like who understand Odinani very well and they, actively, seek knowledge in that space, don't go to Dibias that much. It's always it's always women from church. it's, always, it's always women from church that go to Dibias a lot. And again, there's nothing wrong with Dibias, but when you do go to Dibia, it's like something's broken and I need it fixed. That kind of thing, something is not going the way it's supposed to go. You understand? But you and you have direct access to your chi. And people ask me, how do you hear your chi? I've done videos on it. I've done different infographics, but the best way to put it is the clearest voice you actually have. And you are actually probably in the process of deliberately not trying to listen, but you know what it's saying. It is your capital T truth. It is your capital T truth, right? If you don't necessarily know how to apply your gifts or how your chi says you should apply your gifts, I would use the advice of following the things that resonate with you. Like I said earlier, the chi is also alluded to similar to the sun. So it'll feel like warmth, right? It'll feel like light. So if you keep if you move towards what feels like light, you're moving towards your chi. You're moving in the direction of your chi. If you keep around you what feels like light, or warmth or resonance is the best word. Resonance, yeah, same thing. And the more you learn to walk in this space, if you're saying the things that resonate with you, if you're taking in things that resonate with you, the more you realize that listening to your chi, not hearing your chi, is actually harder than hearing your chi. Your chi is your true voice. It's you, right? It's your truest voice, that type of thing. But you have to trust yourself and accept yourself, trust yourself, and then start listening, right? Put the things that resonate with you around you. Like before, I would know what resonated with me or what I felt was truth, but I always felt like maybe I need to do this thing I don't like, or maybe I need to do this thing that's not true to me before I get there. And I was completely wrong, right? I was completely wrong. And what I came to find was listening to that first voice and following the things that give me light and the things that give me resonance, on the smallest scale, then answers those big questions, because you already know the answer. You already know the answer. You have to just listen and trust yourself enough to listen to yourself, and you'll hear it. And you've been hearing it. You're hearing it right now. You're hearing it right now. Whatever the answer is, you're hearing it right now. That kind of thing. So thank you for that. Thank you for that question. That was really dope. Whole bunch of he says, I see Odinati is more like Buddhism. It's a way of living and thinking. Okay, Adrian, good. That's dope. Awesome. But it seems like they're grouping it with Ifa and Voodoo. Well, Ifa and Voodoo are the same. It's the same. I think that the initiation heaviness is something that comes from um, the New World, and is a result of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery and the oppression of African people on this side of the world. Because if we're doing this thing that has power, and the structure over me says you're not allowed to do this thing, suddenly we can only do it with the people we trust. Okay, who do we trust? The people who are initiated, right? Okay, we can tell you our secrets, but you have to do this thing first. You have to show us we can trust you, because now there's this thing over us that can cause harm to us if it is seen that we are participating in this thing that's true to us, right? And so I think because Ifa and Voodoo are very popular on this side of the world, that gets carried over in interacting with with Africa, right? And after you get 21 phone calls from Oprah and Jeff Bezos asking you if they can get initiated, you're going to give up. You're going to say, yeah, sure, come on in, right? Come on in. And if you say no, all your hungry little cousins with their little phones are listening, talking about, wait, he said no? Hey, come here. No, I'll initiate you. Don't listen to him. That kind of thing, right? So, but yeah, I don't think it's different in Voodoo and Ifa. I don't like, what does that mean to be initiated into? Is it like initiated into becoming a Babalawo? Fine, you know? But how do you get initiated into Voodoo? It's a way of understanding. It's a perspective. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of viewing things. It's a way of connecting to things. Same thing with Odinani. Same thing with Ifa. All those. It's a way of all that stuff. You understand, right? So I think, I could be wrong, but I think what happened with Ifa is that it people put the Babalawo in the place of the pastor, and people are going to do the same with Odinani and all these other ones that are now people are discovering over time. And I would like them not to, but I can't stop people. Let's see here. I understand why you don't want to die on AK Day, but it's interesting not to get married. Yeah, Snapple and Cats, you don't do nothing on AK Day. AK Day is for the sacred. AK Day is for the Abara. AK Day is for that which is bigger than humanity. So we pause and we give those things their acknowledgement on that day, rather than making that day about us or doing our thing. And so yeah, you don't get like we initially planned to get married, but we found out like on a specific day, and we found out it was Eke, and my wife's village doesn't get married on Eke Day. They don't do weddings on Eke Day, that kind of thing. Also, it's the women who make that rule. And one of the reasons they make that rule is because if they're observing a day of rest and a day of, just a day of rest and that kind of thing, and then you have a wedding, now they're conflicted that they can't participate. So it's actually the women that make that particular rule on like, oh, we're not doing this on that day. It was, let me put it this way, it was the women of the community that said, no, we're not going to do that. It's AK day. We're not going to do that as far as the wedding. So it is a very interesting thing. The market doesn't close though. The market doesn't close though. Markets remain open on AK day. So just the most Igbo shit on earth. What does Dibia mean? A Dibia is a Diabia. A Diabia. That is a man of or master of Abia. Abia is divine wisdom. Is divine wisdom. Abia is divine wisdom, and it manifests in the form in the natural world as light. As light. In Odinani, you'll come to see that a lot of concepts manifest on different scales in different forms, right? In different scales and different forms. So you have the sun, and then you have this light with that comes out of it, right? Which is known as Abia, right? It's known as Abia. It's also known as Abara or Abala in some dialects, or Abala, I think that's how they say it, but Abara, right? Which is spirit, that kind of thing. So it is a master of Abia. Abia means spirit, wisdom, light, all in one. It's the same force manifesting on different levels, and those are some of the levels it manifests. Another level it manifests is in the form of the human being known as a Dibia, right? And so a master of that is a person who is spiritually open, a person who's spiritually open and receptive. They have what is known as agun ishi, which is their controlling force or their controlling spirit is Agun. They come into the world to be what Agun is on the scale of nature. So you are what Agun is in the community on this, Agun plays a particular role on the scale of the universe, and you on the community scale are that particular thing. In that, you play that role, because everything is a microcosm of a macrocosm in Odinani, right? So the universe is an infinite array of finite patterns, and you are just like here. I got my thumb right here, and then I got my big toe. It is the same force on different scales or different places in nature. So the Dibia is the Agun of their community, that kind of thing. So it means Diabia, a man or master of Abia, divine wisdom. So, and that's why they say that a female Dibia is an is and why, and is and why. Is and why is like a master woman or an authority woman. So because the term Dibia doesn't make sense, because D implies man. D literally says man, that kind of thing. You can also see it as, anyways, that's a different thing. Understand why don't, okay, yeah, already past that. Random, but can you quickly describe the personalities and inclinations of those born on Eke Day? People born on Eke Day have a very strong presence. People born on Eke Day are usually leaders. They ascend to leadership, or they aspire towards leadership. People born on Eke Day are temperamental, are temperamental but just, right? Temperamental but just, not temperamental in the sense that you're just like flipping out on people, but they're just that kind of thing. So those are a few things that I've heard about people born on Eke Day, right? Very different from people born on Uriye Day, who are very go with the flow, very adaptive, very peaceful, that kind of thing. Just kind of the opposite of an Uriye person, right? All right, I think I already passed that. Hey everyone, what did I miss? Just me talking shit. What is your stance on animal sacrifice? Udochi, hey, how you doing? Do you think it's potent? Yeah, animal sacrifice was one of the things I didn't like like from the beginning. I looked at it, I was like, I'm good. But now I completely understand it, and I appreciate and understand the tradition, and that kind of thing. It's not something I've ever done, but I might if y'all keep playing with me. I might if y'all keep playing with me. Yeah, nah, I've never. I've never done it before, you know. So once I'm outside this jurisdiction of these here United States, if y'all keep playing these games, I'm gonna do it. Do I think it's potent? Every single person who has done it has said, "Hell yes, it is." So yes, I think it is. That being said, don't kill any animals. Um, America's such a hilarious country. Y'all gotta tell people not to do some crazy shit, or else it's your fault. Yeah. So yeah, don't do nothing like that. I think I'm frozen. I think I'm frozen. You guys, let me know if I'm frozen, because on my other screen I look frozen. Okay, no, oh no, I'm not. I'm not. All right, so let me go back up to the top where the questions are at. Keep throwing the questions at me, by the way. When the questions end, I end. Oh wow, I shouldn't have hit refresh. I missed people's questions. If you asked questions earlier, please ask them again, and if I haven't answered them. Let me see here. Someone said Africans don't nitpick, it's Americans. I would like to know what they were talking about, but that's kind of where I got cut off. Because they have a way of making income through initiations, and people who just in the culture mess that up. Yeah. Posturing and Americanized Africans, I feel they should be the most understanding, but no. Somebody says, yup. It's like confessing your sins to a Catholic priest to have God forgive you. Like, who is you? Who? You know what I'm saying? You're going to take the goofiest part of Catholicism, right? You're going to take the goofiest part and then bring it over here and then start getting mad because someone on Facebook wants you to confess their sins to them too, right? It's not like you're building cathedrals. And cathedrals are beautiful. Go do that, you know? Build that. Go be into architecture. If you want to take something from Catholicism, don't bring this confession booth. I think people want like to confess their sins to a Dibia or something. Just like I have a lot of Dibias go to church. Like it's not what you think it is. You know, it's not what you think it is. Shit. When so many of us have gifts from birth that are natural and spirits are the land, why do we need permission from someone to be human in that way? Thank you. Imagine someone telling you, if you have this gift and you were born with this gift, it's who you are, right? Just like I'm born with hunger. I don't need to be initiated into having hunger or initiated into being able to speak, right? It's just who I am. In fact, you coming to tell me that tells me that you're being nefarious. There's something going on with you. You're trying to control me, right? A lot of them posing as African theosophy. Interesting. On some theosophy, posing to be African spirituality. If there is no temple associated, it's probably not actually connected. I don't know what that means. I'm going to play devil's advocate and say they're paying to be taught the right way to talk to ancestors according to tradition. I mean, there are do's and don'ts. Initiation is not the right word. That's a really good comment. Okay, so maybe initiation is not the right word. They just want to learn how to do it, right? Okay, how do I do it the right way? So just ask that. You know, just ask that. You don't need to ask about it. And if someone tells you need to be initiated, just go find somebody else. That's ridiculous. But I think that's the question what she had posted. That might be the better question. Like, how do I do this the correct way? There are do's and don'ts, so on and so forth. But I will say this: there are do's and don'ts, and that is based on culture, right? So where I'm at, I'm not going to hand my ancestors things with my left hand because of what it means in my culture. And your culture is going to be the informer. Is going to be the informer, right? If you are, let's say you're Black American, you're African American, right? Um, You know what them old church women, you know how to offend them, and you know what doesn't offend them. And that's how you have to, what you have to be mindful of when you're talking to your ancestor who may have been one of these people, right? There's a lot of people when you go to an Ifa XYZ, you're gonna dobale, you're gonna get on the floor and do the dobale, right? Because that's how in Yoruba culture, that's how you greet an elder. It's all culture, right? It's all culture. In where whoever you are, wherever you're from, you have to understand that like it's not about you putting you to the side and going and being Igbo and putting you to the side and going and being Yoruba and all that. No, it's you have ancestors that are of the exact same thing as you. And just if you're mindful of their proclivities and their thing and your own cultural rules, which most of you are, you don't really need somebody else to tell you that, right? Right? That kind of thing. I used to work with, I lived in Texas for a minute, and I worked with a lot of older black women, right? And even in the office, you knew there were just certain things you weren't going to do and say around them. You just knew that's just what it was. And if I am of that particular culture, yeah, that's the exact same thing as my ancestor, right? I'm not gonna go to my altar dressed like a hussy, as they would say. That kind of thing, right? So it's really, if you want to know the right way, it's you again. Okay, this is the best way to put it. In the African worldview, family does not end at death. Family does not end at death. And the acknowledgement of your ancestors is the continuity of family. That's all it is. It's the continuity of family. And then family does not end at humanity. You have family that is not human. The river that has been feeding you for generations is a part of your family. If it's not a part of your family, it sure the hell is a good friend, right? The sun, the sky, the earth, all of those things. When I was doing when I was breaking the OG, I'm acknowledging all these different things, right? You understand? So in that, you begin to understand, just on an ancestral level, I'm still connecting to you. I'm still talking to you. I'm still that kind of thing. And I'm gonna follow the rules of that, of what that looks like in our world, in our context, in our culture, right? That kind of thing. Now, some of you will now find out, oh, I have Igbo ancestors, I have Yoruba ancestors. When it's time to talk to them, you do the thing that makes sense to them. You might bring an Oji to your altar. You might do ballet to that kind of thing, right? It's all culture, right? It's all culture. And so the right way to do it is just by following that. Even like, people laugh about it, but when these rappers are, pouring out some liquor, they're doing it right. They're doing African spirituality the exact correct way. They're pouring liquor for their friend because if that person was alive, they'd be here drinking it with me in this exact way, right? In this exact way. This is exactly how they'd be drinking it with me. That kind of thing. And so it's acknowledging that the unborn and the unliving are still a part of your family. Family doesn't end at death, right? Life doesn't end at death. And life or appreciation and gratitude and affinity and friendship and family doesn't end at humanity. Doesn't end at humanity, right? If before I dig a shovel into the earth, I'm gonna, excuse me, yak, that kind of thing. I'm gonna say excuse me to her, or in the Igbo tradition, they have a specific way of saying a prayer like, hey, I got to do this. Sorry, that kind of thing, you know. Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. So if you need a Dibia to teach you how to do that, sure. But Dibia in goddamn Nigeria is not going to. They'll teach you how to talk to your like ancestor of their culture that you share with them, sure. But some of your ancestors are the same as your grandparents, right? Same as your parents. That's why I had a video. Y'all are coming at me for this one. But I was saying that you can't bypass your parents and start talking about your ancestors, right? That's how the confusion starts. I think one of the issues too is that people want to create this like Ifa and this Odinani that excludes family so they can do it themselves or maybe they don't like their parents, or maybe the relationship between them and their parents is not ideal, or it's beyond not ideal. Maybe it's horrible, right? Maybe it's horrible. And so the idea of participating in something that's family centric, but that you're still passionate about, is it's a lot to wrestle. It's a lot to wrestle, you know. And so what some people try to do is try to go around the family aspect. But your ancestors are your ancestors because they're your family. You understand? They're your ancestors because they're your family. It's not because they're in the Igbo Bible, right? Right? You know, in Nigeria, people will say, "God of Abraham, God of my forefathers." What are you sure? You know that's not your forefather, right? That kind of thing. So it's your family. It's your family, and you as a person do not begin at you, and you do not end at you. There's a greater you, and it involves your family, right? And so all it is keeping accord and peace with family, because if you lose that, you'll hate yourself. You can go ahead and argue with me if you want, but you can't not like your parents and like yourself. It's completely impossible. uh, which is hard for a lot of people to accept, but so which a lot of them Theosophy Aga. One name, Madu Jishikan, you are doing nice work. Oh, thank you, Kevin. Thank you. One name, watching you from Biafra land. I'm hosting. Hey, hail Biafra. My, hey, Uli, what's up? We're live. Oh, we're good. Yeah, we're live right now. So yeah, my grandfather, who came back as this awesome young man, was Biafra to the bones. I remember when we'd arrive at the village, after years of not being home, his first thing you say is "Welcome to Biafra." This is way before IPOV and all that stuff. He tell you "Welcome to Biafra." If you even implied you were in Nigeria, you and him were gonna have a discussion. So yeah, but it's funny because right when he passed, this kind of renewal of the Biafra movement, just like a month apart, just boom, took off. It took off. So yeah, greetings. There are so many. Right, if someone told me I couldn't talk to my grandparents who've passed away, I'd have to swing on somebody. Exactly, exactly. It's an outrageous thing to tell a human being. This not minister for oh man. I agree with Chi. I think people are equating initiation with learning esoteric knowledge. Or yeah, Chi. No, Chi. That was a dope comment. Thank you for that. An easy way to tell is usually something African from any region will have practical usefulness and natural. Hey, one name where you got the you get the call like Italy now. I got them wow, got them on there. No, really, now for now, going. Hey, yes. So my sister Nicole Lasher said an easy way to tell is that usually something African from any region will have some practical usefulness and natural logic. And this is just the conclusion I've come to, right? And it's obvious, it's everywhere, that type of thing, right? Once it becomes impractical, you're doing something else. You're doing something else. You understand? There's there's an there's an ilu that says, if an arashi doesn't work, use it for firewood, right? And if you build an arashi, if you build up an arashi and you are trying to channel this particular effect, and that arashi doesn't work, gather the thing up and go use it for firewood, that kind of thing, right? There's nothing about us as a people that is just belief and that kind of thing. It's all things people have seen and experienced and put into action, and it worked, and they continued with it. That kind of thing. Facts. Understood. Chingwen. Hey, Chingwendu, Kedukide. I wish there was more accurate, relatable representative of Odinani in media. It's not inaccurate. The things that are going around are not inaccurate. I don't think there's anything inaccurate happening. And usually if something inaccurate, even though the accuracy thing doesn't matter, but if something inaccurate happens in due time, it's debunked or brushed away, or just it's not going to withstand the test of human observation, right? It's not going to withstand the test of human observation. I would consider writing a Would you consider writing a book with anything about Anani spiritually at some point? Can you become? Yeah, yeah. Adrian, thank you for that question. Am I considering writing a book? Yeah, it's actually something I'm working on. So I'll give more details as we get closer to the finish line. But yeah, it is something I'm working on. So keep an eye open on that. I think that a book is because YouTube can just say F this guy and delete everything, But books tend to last forever. But yeah. Yeah, you guys, you one day YouTube might make that decision. So please, guys, don't make it easy for them by asking me ridiculous ass questions. I wonder what your zodiac sign. You're very funny. Oh, thank you for that, Chimwendu. I am an Aries. I don't know if Aries are supposed to be funny. And I appreciate you thinking I'm funny because I'm the only person. uh, my own particular humor I think is funny, but most people are like, "What the hell's up with this guy?" So that's cool. Yes, chi being is Chelsea said being is in tears initiation enough. Hey, that is in tears, not a small thing. Oh, hey man, that's funny as hell. Makes a lot of sense. I actually think I guess. Let me get to reading ASAP Dope. I might have to get the AZ group because I'm in the premium. I feel like I'm sitting by myself in the cafeteria while y'all are having freestyle battles under the flag. Oh, by the way, if you're in the AZ tier, I just posted, if you're a patron and you're on the AZ tier, I just posted the last group study we had. I was a little late on that, so my bad. I try to get them up within like 2 days now, minimum, if not right away. But yeah, I don't know. This is a really busy month for me, so things have been all over the place, but in a good way. And I designed it that way, so that's fine. But yeah, the video's up. I've been okay. It's your chi. It's your chi. Okay, cool. Don't know if that's accurate, but coming from a Catholic upbringing that says that you can't trust yourself to not lead you to hell, learning to now trust your intuition is yeah. That's the big thing. That's the big thing. And I think that so many people are indoctrinated into believing that they're not adequate, that it would be very difficult for them to now transition, I guess, into this thing without a guide, or without somebody telling them if they're doing it correctly and that kind of thing. Ultimately, you can find a teacher or a guide or whatever it is, but in the end of the day, it's learning to listen to yourself and learning to accept and trust yourself and your reality and that kind of thing. And then from there, the rest kind of starts falling in place. And this is very common with African belief systems. It's very, very, very common with African belief systems. That kind of thing. And earlier I said something about like how like initiations became important in the New World, probably because of the situation that Africans in the New World were under. This isn't saying that the ones in the New World are false or doing it incorrectly, right? We as Africans are generally doing the same thing. And that thing adjusts to the situation. It adjusts to the situation. Odinani, or Odinala. I don't say Odinala because it's I sometimes pronounce Allah like Allah, like the Muslim God. And so I switched to Ani because it's easier. But Odinani as it is on the land, Omenala, as we do on the land or as it does on the land. So Odinani is the understanding, the cosmology, right? And from Odinani you form Omenala, which is what you do. Okay, if this if this is the way things are, this is the way we're going to behave, or this is how we're going to do things. And that element, that omenala element, right, changes every single place you go, right? So where I'm at, the python is sacred in my community. In Awamama, the python is sacred. You don't kill pythons. If a python dies, you have to give it the burial like of a human being, and like a dignified human being too, especially if you were responsible for its death, right? So if a python comes into your house, you have to greet them like as the way you greet a human guest, and offer them food and let them leave on their own time and accord, or offer them a stick, and if they hop on the stick, they're ready to go home. That kind of thing. That you can help them go home. So, but a few communities over, they don't do that. They'll kill it, you know, that kind of thing. So there was something about our ani, our land, that informed us. The spirit of our land informed us to live this particular way. And just over the river, it didn't tell them to do that. You don't have to do that here, that kind of thing. So if you're in Mississippi and yours is hoodoo, or you're in New Orleans, yours is voodoo, you're in Cuba, yours is Santeria, all that stuff, it all speaks to the land. Hey, I got a donation. Cool. Saibari, I think that's you. Nwanne gade igeto gobla itiri aka gade no wa gade no neke no rie na fought na nkwo. He said, thank you very much for that. You know, real YouTubers typically will just respond to the questions that have from donations. You understand? They respond from questions from the donation. But I don't want to push my luck. So that's why I'm here scrolling, trying to figure out what's going on. Stuff like that. So, the Cyberia, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Let me see if there's any more questions. Is there a difference between Haitian voodoo and Dahomey Fawn voodoo? Just kind of probably, if there's a difference, it's going to be related to the things I'm talking about, right? It's going to adjust to the land. It's going to adjust to the people. So if you're in the new world and you need to hide, it's going to take on that nature. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's wrong, right? If you are near a river, suddenly the interacting and communicating and having a relationship with the water, the spirits of water, or the spirit of water, suddenly she becomes a lot very important. If you're in the hills and you're not in near river, suddenly you don't hear about her as much, right? And like for example, in my community, the main Arashi in my community is Njaba Nkwo. It's the ribbon Nkwo, of course, the fourth market day. But if you go to somewhere like Mbano, that's a little more inland or away from the rivers and things like that, Anna, the earth, now becomes the main one. It's not the river anymore, it's the land, that kind of thing. So it always adjusts by location. And that's why, like I say, we're all doing the same thing, right? We're all doing the same thing. And it is based on observation and truth. And if you can disprove it, then it's gone. Oprah is problematic. You know, but if hey, problematic or not, if she asks you to initiate her, you know, you might throw a little fee at her. I don't. You might charge her, you know. Especially if she asks you like 90 times. I don't need to find a Dibia in the Seattle area. I need to find a Dibia in the Seattle area. I just don't know where to start. I'm gonna tell you right now, you probably won't find a Dibia in Seattle. AKD sounds like Sabbath. Yeah. I've recently started treating AKD as a day of rest. Which has had mixed results. It's been real. Oh yeah, maybe I should have done a video on that. I've switched my calendar to the 4-day calendar, and it's been really great because you get to rest. Like it's 3 days rest, 3 days rest. So if you want to equate it to like a Western calendar week, you still get your 2 days vacation, and then you get an extra day of work. But the rest days are placed in between the weeks, so you never really get tired. You don't have time to get tired, if that makes sense. By the time you even start getting tired, it's like it's weekend time already. So AKD, I rest, I hang out with this guy, that kind of thing. Of course, with Kedu, sometimes I'll do classes for Kedu on AKD. But if I don't respond to your email, if I don't respond to your question or message, check the calendar on the Patreon. If I don't respond, that might be what's going on. Is it a coincidence my Igbo name is Dibia? You might want to ask your parents. I don't know. You may want to ask your parents. I need to hit the laptop one keeps freezing, so I miss a lot of you guys' questions. If you guys asked a question I haven't answered, just ask it again. Ask it again. I'm just letting it flow. Gotta mute myself. Hold on. That's all. People are stubborn about traditional practices and don't want to meddle into one thing. So the house system kept peace and unity. Yeah, that's fine. I completely understand that. That's why I don't get into like this person's doing it right, this person's doing it wrong. You know, you will know when you are doing it right. You will know when you're doing it wrong. Everybody has a reason they're doing it the way they're doing it. Most of the time, the one that matters is what you're doing and how you respond to what's around you. So it's wonderful. If you were born on Eke Day, which day would you consult your chi or do divination? I do Eke. Divination is different, but like consult your chi, Eke, divination. A lot of Dibias don't work on Eke Day. And so if you are Chika, if you are an is and Y, if you're an is and Y, the tradition in Igbo land is typically they won't work on Eke Day. So any day is fine except Eke. But just you communicating with your chi any day is fine, including Eke. Divination is different from you talking to your chi, though it's not super different. I think it's important to mention, accurately include representation. Hold on, wait. Accurately include the representation, every one of all gender / lack of ways they present in Igbo land. I don't understand that comment or question, though I think I understand it. I agree with Nicole very much. I just wonder sometimes if Derek also sees this bias within his teachings, though all relevant, and I learned a lot. Uchenna, maybe I'll bump into whatever's causing you to say that I'm biased, but if you could elaborate, because you're sounding ridiculous to me right now. Elaborate on what you meant by that comment about me being biased. You know, earlier I said I've never done a sacrifice, but y'all keep playing with me. The difference is that the Haitian voodoo system has houses that integrate traditions of Fondifa. Yeah, that's dope. See? And look at the situation in Haiti, right? You have people from all over coming together or being placed together and then figuring out how to make it work. So then all of a sudden their thing's going to look different from the thing happening in Dahomey and or Benin and all these different places. And that's fine. That's fine. Is there gender fluidity in Odinani? If there's gender fluidity on Earth, there's gender fluidity on Odinani. This is what a good day. Do those astral projection travel encounter same? Cybaria, question. Your question number one is going to require me to turn this thing off and think. That's a lot. If you want to elaborate later, Dan, that'd be great. Is there an Igbo version of astrology? I mean, to the stars in general. Snapple and Cats, yes, but I don't know it too well. So I'm trying to learn it. Once I learn it, I'll share it with everybody. But there is, of course, an understanding of stars or a connection to the stars that goes beyond just terrestrial looking at light and that kind of thing. So yeah, there is. I just don't know it. I've been presented with what is it, but I typically try to see things in two places before I start sharing it. So I have to kind of confirm the one I saw. You know, but yeah, there is astrology. Hey, I'm an Aries too. That's what's up. Maybe that's why we get each other's jokes, man. Okay, cool. Yeah, so book would be accessible. I like that. So, okay, we already did that. Let me go up a little bit over here. It's impractical when it's not universal, sure. Uche, I doubt that reflects the actual reality of things. Yeah, this is why people answer the donation questions. This gets confusing. I don't know what's a question or what. If you got questions, just go ahead and ask. It's understandable. something reestablished kinetics. So that's cool. I think people to feed their ego, build a sense of identity. Yeah, people want to belong to things, or people want to people want to do something that makes the thing they're doing official. They don't want to feel like somebody from the outside just running their mouth, or appropriating. So they want to follow. Like it's not like I mean I'm being hard on people that want to get initiated. It's a thing of respect. They're doing it out of respect. It's not. I'm just cracking jokes, but they're doing it out of respect. It's not that they're like foolish or they're doing whatever. Everything I'm saying is just to give perspective. You know what I mean? It's just to give perspective. You're from the richest country on earth. You're asking people from the not richest country on earth to initiate you into something that doesn't need initiation. You're one of at least 12 people that I've asked them this question. Eventually, they're going to crack and start charging you money. So that's all I'm saying. But I understand that the desire to be initiated is an act of respect, and I'll give you your kudos for that. More or less, you just want to do this the right way. I don't want to just okay now I'm this kind of thing. But initiations, as far as Okinawa goes, it's like it's if you want to do something specific. So you want to be a Dibia, you want to be an Inze, you want to be an Ozo, you want to join a certain what they call masquerade society or spirit society. Like Epe has an initiation, right? Epe has an initiation. Owu, Mau, Okonko, all these different, there are different masquerade societies that kind of identify usually a single spirit or a class of spirits and like specialize in those spirits, right? They have initiations, those types of things. They have initiations because they're organizations, not because you have to, whatever, to encounter a spirit, but it's an organization. So initiation is the joining of an organization, that kind of thing. Initiating as a Dibia, you're joining a guild or like the brotherhood or like Dibia brotherhood of Dibias, becoming an Is and Y, sisterhood of Is and Y. Then you're also announcing to the community, and you're also announcing to your Agon that we are going to work together. I'm with you, you're with me, I'm you, you're me. So yeah, there's initiation there. But everything else, right? If you're not trying to do something very specific, think of it the way, almost all of us in the US, you can be initiated to being a judge, but you don't get initiated to being like a human. You know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of thing. So basically, it sounds like yes, talking to your ancestors like talking to people on Earth, 100%, because they are on Earth. How you explain Obanje, but there's types of spirits who come to visit Earth. Yes, there are different kinds of Obanje. Obanje is like a species of spirit. That's a weird term, species. It's a type of spirit. So there are tons of different types. Even like when I say Agon, Agon is not one thing. Let's call it a species, right? It's a class of spirits. It's a class of forces. It's a class of essences. A lot of these things are groups. They're not one thing, that kind of thing. So great question. Like to thank my ancestors. Most favor. Curious about the Dibia. Curious about the Dibia term. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. I think there's new questions. If there's not, then I'm hopping. This image of you and your son is aw. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, he just insisted he's gonna be here for this one, so that's just what it's gonna be. So yeah. A question one: do those astral haggers counter the same animal red blood destruction as astronauts traveling to space? Cybaria, that question is very heavy. I think we will need to discuss it outside of here, but it's an observation I haven't made, and it sounds like you've made an observation that I haven't. So I couldn't answer that question for you because I don't know, right? I do not know, but I think you're saying something really interesting, and it's making me think. And I think you're kind of right. So how do you determine the voice of your ancestors and others? Oh, wow, good question. How do you determine the voice of your ancestors and others? I hope I have an answer for that. I don't think I do. I don't have an answer for that. J Moon. I will try to look into that, and I'll try to sometime down the line answer that question because it's a really good one. And I think somebody else has asked me that before, but I don't have an answer as far as how to distinguish them, especially since like I myself, I don't necessarily experience my ancestors in like voice. If anything, I do in dream, and in dream it's clear, that kind of thing. Um, Oh, how can I express gratitude and thank my ancestors? So when I do the breaking of the Oji, when I do the Iwaji, that's how you can show gratitude. Ekeleremge, aine ekelengi, ekele, using the term ekele, thanks or grace, gratitude, that kind of thing. Aine ekelengi or aname ekelengi, whoever aname ekelengi, that kind of thing. So if your ancestor is named Roger, aname ekelengi. You have another one named Ethel, aname ekelengi. You have another one named Dinduishi, aname ekelengi. You show them gratitude. Of course, then culture becomes a thing. So I usually put na in front of my ancestor's name, like father, whoever, father, whoever. I do the male ones because I'm the first son. So the but then like if your culture, if calling your elders sir or ma'am, if that's what you do in your culture, then that's what you're going to do when you're talking to your ancestors of that culture, right? If you are of mixed heritage, mix it up, that kind of thing, which a lot of people are. So yeah, the if you are a patron, I can't remember the name of the person that asked me. If you're a patron, go to the recommended folder. I have a little book pamphlet that I wrote, and it explains how to do igofo, right? And it just gives like a step by step, and it gives you phrases you can use in Igbo. And then there are translations in English. You can also use the English one if you have your ancestors speak English. Yeah, you speak also the language of your ancestors when you're talking to them. That's the language you're going to speak. You speak the language of your ancestors. Usually, when it's time to enroll for Kedu, we usually make a lot of memes. So I'm going to make a lot about when you try to call your ancestors using English and the guy that shows up. But yeah. So I have if you're a patron, the person that asked me how can I show gratitude to my ancestors. If you're a patron, I have like a pamphlet. Let's call it a pamphlet. I have a pamphlet in the folder. If you can't like I don't know afford, or if you're not comfortable being a patron, send me a message. We'll talk. Uh, Good day, Andrew. Nandi Soik.
Mm-hmm.
You having fun?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So, is there an Igbo version of? Okay, we already passed that. I'm gonna probably answer one or two more questions. Is there a connection with foreseeing things, intuition? Oh yeah, I know Denani. Oh, big time. Yeah, I asked this before, but my mother has the gift, and she gave it to me. Say, yeah. So one thing our ancestors say is that typically, if your mother has gifts, odds are all the children will have them. If your father has gifts, some of the children will have them. And when an individual is supposed to be a Dibia, they go to their mother's people's offal and give an offering. So there's a very strong idea or awareness that these gifts often come from the maternal line or the mother. But yeah, yeah, anything Odinani is heavy on intuition, clairvoyance, extra sensory. Let's use that term. Extra sensory ability is a huge thing. Much of what I'm sharing with you is revealed through extrasensory capacity. Not to me, right? But the people that it's revealed to are generous enough to share. So most of this is pieced together through the extrasensory. It's not somebody sat around and said, "Oh, I think people should start doing this now," that kind of thing. So, yeah, big time foreseeing. I'm trying to think of a term for foreseeing. Oh, I can't think of the term right now. The the spirit that guides me through these talks has clearly left me. I know. Like it just went, all right, I'm going to bed, and so it's just me and y'all right now. So About to get some ignorant ass answers. Hold on. Most of their genetics predicted what the fuck. Okay, dope. Where can I learn about it? Snapple and cats. I don't. Maybe I missed the question. Let me see if I can catch another one. Good question, Johnson. Does the astral body have blood? Oh, okay. Does the astral body have blood? Will it affect the blood when it reconnects with the physical body? That will help. Oh man, that's a good ass question. That is that is an amazing question. That is an amazing question. Um, I would need to think about it, but I don't think I know right now. I don't think I have an answer. And I like the question because of how much it's gonna make me think and that kind of thing. Does it that kind of thing? Yeah. But because the reason I think it's a good question because the astral body is closely related to what our ancestors observe as ete, and these are the streams or the strings of the universe, and these streams and strings are what life, existence, energy, power, all that thing travel through. It is also what your astral body uses in navigating the universe. So, in a strange way, your astral body becomes a part of the bloodstream of the universe, of the greater universe. It becomes a part of the bloodstream and it uses the bloodstream of the greater universe to reach one point to another. So it becomes very similar to the red blood cell, that kind of thing. But as a red blood cell, or a cell, or maybe sometimes even a virus or a bacteria, there are white blood cells in the astral plane that assure that you don't play around or damage the health of the greater organism. That kind of thing, right? So it very much mirrors the relationship. It very much mirrors blood. The astral travel has like a very intimate connection to the what manifests on the physical body as blood vessels, blood streams, that kind of thing, right? So sidebar, that was a really good question. I think that would actually, I think that's probably going to be a discussion on Patreon. Honestly, like we can really go into that one because that's really good. Uh, if you think the gift of receiving messages in dreams or spirits talking to you, huh? Okay, maybe I'm reading a question wrong, Isabel. How do you confirm that you're not a fraud? Isabel, if you woke up and said, I'm here to fraud, you're a fraud. If you did not decide to fraud, you're not a fraud, right? I may not be 100% understanding your question, but I think it's if you're hearing and receiving these things, how do you know it's that you're the real deal or whatever? You're the real deal if you wake up and decide that you're the real deal. You're a fraud if you decide that you're a fraud and you're going to go do fraud. I think you didn't saw this question. Is there a correlation between agon and okay? Oh yeah, okay. I didn't. I missed the question. Yeah, is there a correlation of agon and madness? Why do we say mad people are being pushed maybe by agon or controlled by agon? Yes. Please do not know Mbare House, its uses. Okay, cool. So Chi asked connection between madness and agon. Yeah. So a lot of madness is associated with agon, right? Agon, you see. And the thing is, when agon comes into the world, to like I use the term when you have agon, but everybody has agon. So when you are reincarnating and you are reincarnating to be on a community or a human level, let me say human, on a human level, what agon is on a universal level, your mission is not a small mission. And when you do not follow that path, if you refuse that path or you're fighting against agon, that agon will fight you back. And your agon fighting you back looks like what many now describe as mental illness, right? Our agon, the madness of agon. So when agon strikes an individual with madness, right? Madness, uh, I don't know if there'd be a better term because mental illness is too vague, you know. But when a person is stricken by that particular thing, it is because Agon came into the world to be Agon as you, and you are getting in the way. So now it's going to fight you, or it's going to leave you. So when Agon is often depicted as having a basket, especially the female Agon, Nagon. She's depicted as having a basket, right? And the best way to think of it is there's a basket sitting on top of your head, right? The term basket case is very interesting. So there's a basket sitting on top of your head, and it's full of all these things. But it being full of all these things, there's an order to it because it's in the basket, right? It's in the basket. Well, what happens if you refuse to take this basket where it's supposed to go and it's just sitting on top of your head? Your eyeball might go, man, give me my damn basket, and everything just falls and spills out. So all of a sudden now you're talking and it's word soup. Something that had structure now loses its structure, right? You're talking and it doesn't make sense. Your gifts that you previously had now feel like they're fighting against you, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's a very intimate connection between Agon and what we identify as madness. I don't think that's what we would call, this is just my own observation. I don't think what we would call mental illness goes away once a person decides to make peace with Agon or um, settle Agon. That kind of is the term that's used, right? When you do your Dibia initiation. This would be a situation where you get initiated. This would be a situation. So, because again, like the Elu says, if a vulture if the vultures fail to take your sacrifice, there's something wrong with the world of spirits. So when the things become abnormal beyond explanation, then it's time to look into the spiritual end, right? See what's going on over there. Something's off there. So when you make peace with Agon, the quote unquote mental illness doesn't go away, but you also make peace with that as well. And you begin realizing that it's I had a DBS break this down to me in a very awesome way. He said that if you focus it on yourself, it will become madness. If you hone it in on you, if you're focused on you, how you're feeling or serving yourself, it'll feel like madness. But Agun, the spirit Agun, is in constant service of the world, serves the world, right? So if it is serving the world, if it is externalizing its gifts and helping others, helping those it came into the world to help, then the thing now starts moving with you. You don't necessarily have, it doesn't fight you anymore, right? It's not scary anymore, that kind of thing. So I think somebody sent a donation. Oh, hey, chica, one kekide. Ai, why, oma, igade, igeto, nkobla itiri aka, ogade no wa, ogade no neke, no rie, na fo, na nkwo. He said, can I ask you for some guidance on the, reach out on, if you want to schedule a one-to-one, Adrian, I think you're a patron. If you want to schedule a one-to-one, if you're on the Is It tier, it's a lot more affordable. But if you want to schedule a one-to-one, and just sit down and really talk and hone in on a thing you're talking about, then yeah, let's do that. I think that'd be a good idea. You can also, if monetarily it's not the thing to do right now, you can also just send me a message. But yeah, it's however you want to do it. All right, guys. Correlations between this mania and schizophrenia. Chelsea says I'm convinced that there's. Oh yeah, for sure. What do you call madness of Agon? Madness of Agon is Aragon, A-R-A, and then Agon, Aragon. There's a great book called Healing Madness, and it's about Odinani. It's about medicine in Odinani, and it goes into Aragon very, very well. So check that out. That'd be a good thing. A lot of families that have Agon altars are ironically the ones that are like it's so strange because I get people reach out to me and say, I'm interested in this and this and that, and like some of my answers would be like, okay, ask your parents, especially if you're just like first generation, that kind of thing. Why don't you ask your parents? Or why? Oh no, I can't talk to them. It's always a matter of time before I figure out that family is actually a Dibia family, and one of their grandparents destroyed their Agun altar, and all these things now start happening in the family that look like, whatever you want to call it. And it's just the consistency of that story is really remarkable. The consistency of that is really remarkable. I don't come from a line of Dibia, so we don't have it in my family. My wife has it in hers, though. But we don't have it in my family to my knowledge. And yeah, so usually the family will have this altar, right? Okay, we have Agum. The family will have this altar. Sometimes that altar, some people destroy it, some people keep it. But typically it lets you know, hey, we have this Agum thing in our family, right? There's this and if it pops up in one of these kids, we know exactly what it is. We know how to treat it, that kind of thing. So yeah, but there is a correlation between that and what we would call mental illness. All right, guys, I'm heading out. Yes, Iroebu. Yeah, that's the guy. Iroebu. Yes, that's the book. Check that one out. I think you'll like it. Can I ask you from that? Okay. All right, guys, I am out. As always, this has been a really fun discussion. Typically, we do these on Fridays. I did it Saturday today. If Saturday's more, no, I won't keep my Saturdays open. We'll keep it on Friday. All right, so we're gonna keep these on Friday. I had some scheduling things pop up on Friday, so I said let me do it today instead. But as always, it's been a great discussion. If you want to support the channel, best way to do so is by joining the Patreon at patreon.com/The Medicine Show. We put the link here. I want to see like 10 of you guys join today. Patreon.com/medicine. Patrons. We have to figure out how we're going to celebrate New Yams. I'm thinking we're going to have like a live stream party. And then of course we're going to celebrate for all the subscribers on YouTube too. But patrons are going to have our own. So if y'all got ideas, I got an idea, but throw your ideas at me and I'll put them in there. But yeah, so for those of you who want to support the channel, patrons have access to my library. So earlier I brought up, somebody asked like, how would you show gratitude to your ancestors? And I have a pamphlet. I think pamphlet is a term. I have like a little book thing I wrote that explains. It's just very short read, very simple. It just goes step by step, and then it translates Igbo to English. So if you want to start incorporating the Igbo, it's funny because there's a couple of students in Kedu who told me that they've actually learned how to speak the language from speaking to their ancestors, like going to their altar and using Igbo instead of English, and that's actually given them the ability to speak the language. So like, they'll stumble on different parts of the language, but then once it comes to talking anything ancestral, spiritual, so on and so forth, they start flowing. So that's dope. I love seeing that. Hey, Chelsea, why oma gade igeto nkobla itiri aka gade no wa gade no neke no rie na fo na nkwo ise. This, I don't want to mess up my carpet, but this is me sprinkling nzu. There you go. So thank you for that, Chelsea. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you want to support the channel, join the Patreon. We have a group study. So it looks like this, only we all get to talk and things like that. Everybody has different perspectives they bring. I always say, I think I say this every single chat, but it's one of my favorite parts of the month. We do it twice a month. We pick a topic. We go very, very, very in depth. Cybaria brought up a really good topic. I'm on the fence. I'm thinking that might be one of the ones we discuss next. We just have to figure out how to frame it with the question she asked. But we go really in depth, and things like that. Good discussions, all that. Then of course it helps the channel. And then we are enrolling people. So I want to see a lot of you guys in Kedu. Like, I really love the program, and it works and all that. So we have started an Igbo language school where we teach custom and culture. So a lot of you guys are like, as far as the medicine show goes, I go more into theory and things like that. But with Kedu, not only do we focus on language, we focus on like the how-to, that kind of thing. How to do Iwachi, the how-to is a big part of it, especially for like Igbo 2, that kind of thing. Right? But of course, the main thing is learning the language, is learning the Igbo language. Because when you go to that altar with that English language, man, you might, right? You might have a Robert E. Lee pull up. So if you want to really learn how to communicate specifically to your people, go join us with gedu.me. The payment plan. So right now you can sign up for courses for the classes that are coming up for the fall in October. But the payment plan option will be available on the 15th of this month for like 2 weeks. Yeah, for 2 weeks. So if the prices aren't working for you at the moment, you can wait for the payment plan. But just message me and let me know, hey, I want to do the payment plan, so that I can email you right away when it's open. Because we try to limit the amount of students we have, because we only have X amount of teachers and X amount of Zoom accounts. And so, like, because if you're with Gedu, you get a coach. So the coach is in Nigeria. She calls you as frequently as you want, and you guys just speak Igbo. It's a no judgment, safe space where, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to learn Igbo before, but it gets rough. Amechi. Amechi, yeah, send an email to info@kedu.me. So the question was, do I need more teachers? Yes, but I just did a lot of interviews. So and when an opening comes up, I think I know who I'm going to hire. But when an opening comes up, I'm going to keep you in mind. But yeah, we always need teachers and coaches and things like that. But yeah, it's a no judgment, safe space, no rudeness, no nothing, which is very common when you're trying to learn Igbo, because we're not into, as a culture, we're not the most sensitive people in the world, right? So I don't. Half of the time you see me smiling mid sentence because I think of something and I go, oh man, if I said this to these goddamn Americans, man, they'll lose their damn mind. So I don't, yeah, we're not the most sensitive people on earth. So we try to create a safe space where you can learn the language, and that kind of thing, and kind of build up your confidence. I think the word is confidence. Yeah, you build up your confidence before you go into the public and start speaking, that kind of thing. So all that is available at keru.me. And then plus the classes are a blast. Like, I'm really looking forward to this next session. We unfortunately, one of our teachers wasn't able to teach for Igbo 2, so I've had to step in. And we've been having a blast. I think I might just like permanently continue teaching there, but we've been having a really good time and that kind of thing. So that being said, y'all, I gotta get out of here. You say yup. Yeah, parents want to get mad at me for not knowing Igbo, yet they laugh when I try. You know what's funny? I was interviewing a guy. I'm not gonna say who, but if he's listening, he knows who he is. And no, you didn't get the damn job. But I was interviewing a guy, and I'm telling you, I was like, the main thing with Kedu is we are creating a safe space for learning this language. And we're not doing the main issue a lot of people have, especially if you're first generation, is like the insensitivity, right? You start speaking like my wife's parents, and she grew up in Nigeria, used to call them out to speak Igbo to their friends so that they can all laugh at how at how their Igbo sounded, So we're kind of helping people work through and release those traumas, that kind of thing. But in the middle of the interview, I spoke Igbo, and this fool starts laughing. And I just, like, the previous sentence was, that is the number one rule. That is the number one rule. We'll provide you with everything you need as a teacher, but you're not laughing. We're not doing that. And now I start speaking this, sort of laugh. I'm like, oh, word. So yeah, they can't help it, which is fine. Anyways, it's fine. So, but yeah, so join Kedu if you're trying to learn Igbo. I've been having a blast covering. I had to cover a class on Friday, which is why I didn't do the live stream because I was just too tired. And it's a blast. I love it. So even though, whatever, we have a good time. So that being said, that is everything I have going on. We're also working on a series of interviews for New Yams. So I'm interviewing, the theme for this one is going to be doing old things in a new way. So I'm looking for people who are doing a lot of the things that I'm discussing in a modern way, right? Or in a way that that's the contemporary I can acknowledge, that kind of thing. So I've had some really good interviews so far. I want to do about maybe 2 more. So if you guys got some people you want me to sit down and talk to and have a conversation with, maybe other YouTubers, people who've done things that you think are interesting and kind of related to what we're doing. It can't be like completely random. Send me a message, and if you are able to connect to them, reach out to them and say, hey, you should come do this thing, or suggest it to them, that kind of thing, so that when I ask, you've already paved the path. So that being said, y'all, uno gade, uno geto, unkabala nu tiriaka, gade no wa, gade no neke. No, I think somebody sent a donation I didn't acknowledge. I apologize. Hold on. Chelsea. Okay, that was the last one. If I didn't acknowledge your donation, I apologize. I'll catch you on the next one. So all I did no neke, no rie, na fo, na nkwo, ise, uno gade, udo gade, ndo gade. Take care, guys. Got you, fool.